What's up, guys? This is JZNES back again to talk about some Mario. We got Mario 3D Land here, not 3D World, thank God. 3D Land. Hopefully 3D World will actually be decent. Maybe that is a little loud, we'll see. Anyway, 3D Land, man, the 3DS game. I wasn't expecting nearly anything out of this game. At all, really. I mean, my friend Mayab said it was good. That's the only reason I was like even half hoping it would be pretty decent. And I was actually ready to play like Final Fantasy VII, and I'm like, I just played Persona 4. It turns out I played like 6 RPGs this year, and I'm like, well, like maybe I should play like a platformer or something to kind of spice things up or whatnot. And so I'm like, well, I know I just played Mario Galaxy 2 not that long ago, but I kind of want to play a platformer. That's like what I want to play right now. And I looked at Mario 3D Land and I'm like, oh, well, it can't be that bad, and it's only like 7 hours long anyway if I, fucking don't like it. So, but I was pleasantly surprised. This is actually a really good Mario game that has like the gameplay and the style fully calls back to all of the classic 2D Mario games, while also integrating itself well with some of the 3D elements of the new like Mario Galaxy and whatnot. There's a lot of elements and themes and stuff from those games that carry over, which is just fantastic. It's a blend of the two, and it melts together perfectly, So it's a good game. It's really good, and the music is good, and the gameplay is good, and that's all there is to say. Goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. But there's not a whole lot to say about it, but we'll get into it. So, but yeah, I just wanted to play a platformer, and I thought, hey, I might as well progress the whole Mario thing. I know the next one I've played before, and I'm not really so excited to get to that one, but 3D Land was actually surprisingly good, Another cool thing about it is it has like all of the classic power-ups from the old games too. So you get like the Tanuki suit is back. I don't think you could do like the stone statue thing, but it's basically the same thing where you can like float down, and you got the fire flower, of course, and all of that stuff. You don't have like the cape or any of that from Mario World, but that's all right. I mean, it really wouldn't have worked that well in this game anyway. You have a boomerang throwing thing, like you used to have a Hammer Brothers suit, which I don't know if that's actually in this game. Maybe it's in like the special worlds. I did 100% the first half of the game, I guess. I technically like beat the game, but there's like a whole nother extra campaign that's like just as long as the original campaign. Like, so a whole second half of the game, once you beat the game, that's just special levels, which is like just more of the same from what I've seen, but like, damn, like the value there in terms of content. And I just kind of blasted through the game because I really enjoyed it. I just couldn't stop playing it, kind of thing. But there's a whole nother second, like 8 worlds, that I could. So there's 16 worlds altogether. I could do the other 8 worlds or whatever. I just didn't really feel like getting into that. So, but yeah, it's cool. There's I don't know. I'm just kind of going all over the place here. That's what I usually do anyway, right? There's a part in the game where they reference a lot of little references to other Nintendo games and whatnot, and especially the classic NES and World and all that there. But maybe even the Game Boy games. I'm not sure. Like, maybe I missed some of those references since I haven't really played those much. I only played the first one of those. I mean, it's called Mario 3D Land, right? Which is kind of funny because Land is the Game Boy series, which is a portable game, so it kind of all balances out. Oh, by the way, jumping all around, I'm going to forget what I was even talking about. The 3D in the game is like really phenomenal. I was like really surprised that this feels like the perfect game to be on the 3DS. This is like a 3DS game through and through. You can come sit here, aren't you? Come in. Yep, that's fine. Here, come here, sit down. Alright, this game is like perfectly optimized for the 3DS. Like, the 3D just feels like so perfect for the game, and like, it's not gimmicky. It feels like it was meant to be there, and it's not like they shoved it in at the last second like Pokemon or something. they fucking did it, and the 3D looks good. It doesn't intrude on the gameplay. You know, everything's still great when you're using the 3D. I played 3D the whole way through, and it just enhances the game, if anything. I mean, it just looks so nice on the 3DS, the 3D. Soundtrack, it's all right. You know, I mean, I only say all right. It's a good soundtrack, but it's just all right because it's a Mario game. You know, there's so many classic soundtracks. It does reference back to other elements from older soundtracks, which is what I was actually just gonna get to before I interrupted myself there. Which there's little jingles and little references sometimes. Like there was one time I put fire into these little lanterns all around the room to get a star coin or whatever, which are these things that are like basically your stars for the game. You just kind of collect them. There's 3 in each level, and I got all of them in every level for the first, you know, regular 8 worlds of the game or whatever. So got all those. That was fun. I just 100%ed it because that was fun to do, I guess. I could have finished the game a lot faster had I not done that, but didn't, you know, that was fine. I wanted to get the base experience out of it, which I did. Plus probably a little extra because I did do that. But they're so easy to collect and whatnot. Before I get to all of that, there's one time when I lit all these lanterns in the room, and it made the little Zelda jingle, and I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. Like, it's so cool. And then at the end, when you're fighting Bowser or whatever, there's a part where he's throwing barrels, and it's like coming down towards you, and it's just like fucking Donkey Kong. Like, it's like what Mario would have seen, like when you're side-scrolling 2D, like at the top where he's throwing the barrels at you or whatever. Like, if you were to like take that and like look from Mario's perspective, that's what I was kind of getting. And he's throwing barrels at you just like Donkey Kong. And I'm like, this is such a cool reference to Mario's original game, which was, you know, where he was Jumpman, which is Donkey Kong. And I'm like, that's badass that they put that in there. Just a little subtle thing for the people who like get it to get, and people who don't get it to not get, kind of thing. So it was awesome. But fuck, I already forgot what I was gonna sidetrack to. Oh, much like fuck, what did I play more recently? Oh, actually, it wasn't even a game that I played for the show. I played it for plug for the hey, look at this, it all works out. Plug for the Two Dudes in the Nest podcast, and I can actually say this now. The episode is out. Go watch Dr. Livingston, Stanley the Search for Dr. Livingston on Two Dudes and an NES, or Two Dudes and a Nest. That's what I call it. I think that's what they want to be called, because they had a whole debate about it at the beginning, like near the earlier parts of the show. Is it Two Dudes and a NES or Two Dudes and an NES? There's no and, it's an A NES or whatever. So, but go check them out on the Bit Brothers or whatnot, and go watch the episode. Listen to the episode. I was in the Dr. Livingston, Stanley the Search for Dr. Livingston episode. Anyway, the whole reason I bring that up is because that game has levels that are kind of short enough to, you just kind of keep progressing on, which is kind of like this game is what I'm getting at, which is funny because actually if Stanley wasn't such an obscure game, that would be actually a perfect portable game just like this. 3DS is dead. Switch remake, I don't know, throw it on the Switch online. It wouldn't be as cool though. They should have put it on the 3DS, Stanley remake for the 3DS or whatever. But anywho, so cool thing. Any hoops like like blathers. Anyway, so the cool thing about Mario 3D World here is that the levels are short enough. They feel like there's enough content there in each level to kind of get the theme across and get across what they're trying to get across, you know, and like play with the mechanics and the idea that they're trying to do. But it's cool because the levels are so short enough and long enough at the same time, that the perfect length of level to be portable and also to keep you at it, especially with little coins scattered, because sometimes they're really difficult to get at and they're always an extra collectible. So the levels are like this perfect length, where they're bite-sized enough but also substantial enough to feel satisfying, and it's such a degree. I've just never felt like pacing like this in a Mario game, like ever. I don't think. Like, I think this probably has some of the tightest pacing in a Mario game ever. Even some of the Galaxy levels can drag on a little bit. I get stuck on a boss or something, but luckily, like, it's just so cool because the length here is the perfect length. I finished it all pretty much in one setting. The only thing I didn't finish in the one setting last night or yesterday, I played from like, let me think, like, shit, I probably played it for like 12 hours actually. Not fully on for 12 hours because I did take some breaks in there, like an hour or two breaks. So it was probably like 8 hours. I probably took like 3 hours of breaks to eat something and, you know, watch some stuff and whatnot. But point is that I did this all kind of in one sitting. The only thing I didn't do in one sitting was beat the final level with the final Bowser fight or whatever, and that whole final, the very last level of the main campaign I had to beat today, this morning, right now. But other than that, I went through it all in one day just because I'm so like engrossed in playing the game. But if you had to pick this up and put it down a lot, the levels are the perfect length, is my point here. They're all really well designed. They all feel themed, like, uniquely. There's so much variety in the levels. By the way, the strategy guide is also a really good addition. Usually a strategy guide is, but I loved having it just on hand. It's like the perfect, it doesn't like, this is like the perfect game where the strategy guide can tell you like everything. Like a lot of strategy guides, they just kind of like glaze over stuff because they figure that you like understand, and they're like kind of vague sometimes and whatnot, and they're not always the most helpful, so you have to like go look up an online walkthrough or like somebody playing the game or something. But the strategy guide is so like perfect. It has like all of the stuff in there that you would need for the game to like play it. So whenever I would like get through a level and I was like stuck or I didn't find a coin or whatever, I would like think about, oh, do I know where this coin is? Or I would just go to the strategy guide and it would be like, hey, here's the coin that you missed. It's in this obscure spot where you have to drop down and there's a pipe or something, or like on the airship levels, it's like below the final part when you're like thinking, oh, I just want to go on fight the boss, you know, down the pipe or whatever, which is cool. But hey, speaking of which, let's transition into that. There's airship levels in this game. There's a lot of references to Mario 3 in this game, with being the Tanuki suit and all of that kind of stuff. Feels very Mario 3, but I like this game a lot more than Mario 3, actually. In a sense, I like Mario 3 a lot. I have a lot of nostalgia with that game. Who doesn't, right? It seems like everyone does, but even I, well, maybe I'm the only one who thinks it, but I understand why it's so great and everything, but I think it's a little overrated in comparison to some of the other ones. I don't really hold a bunch of malice towards it like I do some other overrated things, you know, or whatever, but I think that World and a few other games are probably the better game, but that's a whole nother topic for another time. Anywho, so there's airships in this game, which are a classic callback to Mario 3, of course. Shit, I don't even remember if they did airships in any other games, honestly. Maybe Mario World? Did they do like an airship in Mario World? I know there's a underwater airship where it's like meant to be a reference to Mario 3 or whatever, but like, oh, this is like the classic Mario Brothers theme. That's cool. Anyway, so, but what was I gonna say? So yeah, airship levels, which are cool. They're kind of like the final castle levels in a lot of. So, like, it's like every other world, there's an airship stage instead of a castle, which is cool. That's good variety. They kind of do that with a lot of things. There's the little toad huts, again, like in Mario 3, so you go there and you get an item kind of thing, which is great. I think they knew that people liked Mario 3 a lot, but I think this game takes all the great ideas from Mario 3 and, like, implements them on a far greater level, which is really cool. Oh, hey, look at that. I don't remember what level this was in. That's from Mario 3 as well. But anyway, so airship levels are cool, and then what's cool about them is they have, they're not like they feel a lot like the Mario 3 enemies, though. One of them is the Mario 3 enemy that's in the castles, in Mario 3, which is ironic, because the airships are actually the castles, like the end of level castles, or end of world castles in Mario 3. But the castles are the midway point, which is kind of funny because it's usually the other way around, if you think about it, especially in like Mario 1 and stuff. But anyway, so the airships, I keep talking about this fucking. So the airships have these little one of the Koopa guys, where you kind of jump on his head or whatever, and he like spins around and stuff. I don't think he didn't really spin in the other game. He just kind of jumped up. But they have a different later one that's like a girl one who throws boomerangs, and she does the jumpy thing with her Koopa shell or whatever, which is pretty cool. So that kind of references back to the Mario 3 boss. But it's the same guy from Mario 3 that's like, he's in like every other airship or something like that. You know, like, there's a good variety of which ones are which, but, or maybe it's just in the earlier ones, I don't know. And then there's one where they put them both in the girl one that throws the boomerangs and the other one. They're both in one part. And ironically, that was easier than the other ones. I don't know how that works out, but yeah, so what's cool about it is that, you know, stuff like that is like these little references. So it feels very tied into the older games. It feels like, I don't know if it feels like Mario Brothers 4, but it feels like a perfect bridge between the new games and the old games, because it has side-scrolling levels, and it also has levels where there's 3D, where you run around kind of in 3D, but there's also side-scrolling and 3D, so like 2.5D. It has like the best of all of the worlds of this kind of thing, and it plays with those mechanics well enough, and like there's it perfectly captures all of that. Oh, you know, the other thing I was going to say about the length, you know, it's kind of like the shrines in Breath of the Wild, where they're short, but they kind of get the point across. But these are even a little bit more well-paced and substantial than those. Those could sometimes just be, like, really quick to do. But, in that sense, it's a good portable level. But anyway. So, yeah, a lot of good references to old games there, and it kind of feels like the perfect bridge. It's the Avatar, not the blue people, the Last Airbender. You know, the Avatar bridges the spirit world and the regular world, the gap between or whatever. This is the Avatar of Mario games. So, yeah. What else? I was gonna say some other stuff, but I forgot now. Let me think. What else is there to say? I don't know. It's well paced. It's well done. The variety's good. It's cool how they have it's really well it's really well done. They have those flip switch things, which I think probably started here. Honestly, is Galaxy out at this point? Yeah, no, sorry. They started that shit in Galaxy. I don't fucking know. 3DS came out way after Galaxy. I'm not thinking straight right now. What year did this fucking shit come out, actually? It's like 2012 or something? 2011, okay. So, even Galaxy 2 would have been out at that point, but, so this is actually the third game to use those flip switch things, where when you jump, the color changes. Those things can get pretty annoying in this game sometimes, but it was never, like, bad. It was just always on my fault, because it's like, they set up the level design to like trick you to want to jump at the wrong time or whatever, so you just kind of have to get used to it, sort of thing, which is funny. But oh, okay, so the other thing is there's super guides, as people used to call them. Nobody says that anymore. I don't think games really do it anymore, but they give you the well, no, Mario Galaxy 2 at least did it. I think that started there, actually. But basically a thing where it's like, oh, here, do you want this golden Tanuki suit so you'll be like, I don't know, invincible or something, so you can get through the level. Or there's, later on they have the P-Wing, the classic P-Wing from Mario 3, which I assume lets you fly. I never got either of them. Actually, I did get the P-Wing by accident a few times, but I never used it. It always just goes in your bottom inventory, which is also cool. They have a bottom inventory, so you can click on it and get whatever items in there. So that helps. So you can have a fire flower and the boomerang thing, and just have a lot of variety there, like a Tanuki suit if you need it. You know, you always just have a second item, which is cool. That's really good. They give you lives pretty plentifully in this game too, and they set up levels to where they're pretty easy to get, so you can grind them out. But you never need more than like 20 to get through a level. If you're any good. So, but anyway, super guides. They put those two items there if you kind of suck or you're dying on a part a lot or whatever. Which is fine, you know, whatever. They want to put baby mode in there for people. That's cool. It makes the game more accessible, I guess, or whatever. But I never used them. I didn't see the point, really. The game's not that hard to begin with. It's pretty easy enough anyways. There's some tricky moments, you know, like any Mario game, but game is already a perfect difficulty. I don't think they needed to add the super guide thing. They did it anyway, so it's there. Whatever. Not much to say about that. You know, just like I didn't use them, so fuck it. I considered using them a few times, but I'm like, nah, like fuck that. You know, like kind of thing. So, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know really what else to say about the game. It's a really good game, and you should play it if you haven't, because it's pretty much the perfect 3DS game. It's probably my favorite 3DS game that's not some kind of port or a remake or something. You know, there's the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and all that, and then the Dragon Quest games on there are pretty awesome, like the 8 and whatnot. I haven't gotten the 7 yet, but I do want to get to that one. But that's like most of what I have on my 3DS, I think, is those kind of games. Star Fox, of course, got remade there and stuff like that. But, you know, there's the occasional 3DS game that kind of stands up. But this is probably the best and the most well-realized, like, 3DS game that, like, felt like they made it for the 3DS, you know, like, with the visuals and just the limitations of the system and whatnot. But the limitations don't show through. It's like pushing the system to do its best, you know, which I think is cool. I think the game actually looks really nice for the 3DS. I think it honestly looks more lively. It's more colorful. It's very colorful. I love that. I love that it's not just like bland looking like a lot of games look, you know, nowadays. But it's very colorful, and I really definitely enjoy that. Which is cool. But my point was, I know I've played a little bit of 3D World, and I don't think that aesthetic like really resonates with me quite as much as this one does. I think this aesthetic really works for this game. It's really well done, and I almost think that this game looks better than that game. That game looks more soulless. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up was that those fucking new Super Mario Brothers games, like everyone's like, oh, isn't that the true predecessor to, or I mean, successor to the you know, classic Mario games? Nah, fuck those games, man. Those games are soulless, and I played them, and they just suck, and they drain all of the life out of Mario. It just feels like more of the same, and you know, it's just, there's like nothing to them. They're so unsubstantial, unsubstantial? I don't know, whatever that word would be, that like, it just hurts. And they're so soulless. It's so refreshing that there was a game that they actually put some effort and some ideas into. This wasn't just another, like, I don't know, Galaxy ripoff or something that, you know, that they wanted to try, or like it didn't turn out like 3D World. I'm glad that they put the passion and the work into this Mario 3D Land game, because that's awesome, and it's really cool to me, you know. I love that. I love that this game felt like a really good Mario game, and definitely it's like one of my favorite Mario games. I mean, if we're not counting RPG, it's probably my like second or third favorite Mario game. It's hard to say. I don't know if I like it more than Galaxy or not. And it always fluctuates with World and whatnot, like which one's my favorite between that and Galaxy and whatnot. But yeah, an RPG in there. It's probably like the fourth one, but they just get into a whole bunch of things like, do you count Mario Party? Because then Mario Party 2 has to be on there somewhere. I'd probably say that's like that's a more favorite of mine than this game. This game is still like fantastic, and it's a really good game. Definitely worth getting. I'm sure you can pick this up for like $10 now. You should get this game if you don't already have it. If you're a fan of Mario, even if you're not a fan of Mario, I think this game will win you over to become a fan of Mario, and maybe you'll want to look into some of the other games. But it's definitely one of the most top tier like Mario games that I've played, for sure. All the elements hold up, and it really is cool that it references the old games, and it takes all the best elements of the old games, it combines it with some of the best elements of the new games. It just feels really well done. The power-ups are great. Yeah, I didn't even talk about the fucking propeller box thing. I love that. There's a coin box too. It's whatever. I mean, you just get coins or whatever. But the propeller box is like one of my favorite power-ups in the whole game. You get this box just like sometimes you hit a block and it's there, and then you can jump, and then you like jump again and it like spins you up farther. It's really cool. So you can get to like a bunch higher areas and stuff. And there's like these little switches where you can hit it with your tail and it'll like raise the platform and stuff, and then so you can get even higher, and it's just like there's like levels up in the sky and shit. There's Coin World. I forgot about Coin World. That's back from Mario 3. That's fucking awesome. Where you'll just like randomly go up into the sky on the clouds and whatever. That's fucking awesome. So I love that. I love that that's there. Yeah, like it's got all the best elements of the old games and the new game. It's just it's a perfect marriage of the two, and it looks great, and the 3D is phenomenal, and it's just a wonderful game, and you should definitely play it. The pacing is great. So yeah, play Mario 3D Land. It's awesome. Don't sleep on it like I was going to. Not that I was never gonna play it, but it just was like, it's probably not gonna be all the hype or whatever, and it was, and it's great. And you know, there's even a whole half of the game I haven't got to. I haven't saved Ouija yet, so gotta go do that at some point. And I'm excited to do that at some point. You know, like usually, like the extra worlds or like DLC or whatever, I don't really get around to, but I would be excited to go and do that. Just kind of when I'm feeling like playing a platformer. You know, it can be a good side game or something. So. Anyway, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because I really like this game. I think it's fantastic. Could even be higher score than that. I don't know. I just think a 9 is a nice generic round. It's a good game kind of score. So definitely play it. That's all I got to say. So until next time, this has been JZNES saying keep it classic, stick around for more reviews, underrated games, and I'll see you guys in the next one. JZ